Shut up and sit down.
Hello, my friend. You are listening to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast, the number one place for innovative marketing, retention strategies, and business growth ideas made just for dance studio owners. Now, this isn't your average business podcast. We're here to shake things up, simplify the hustle, and focus on real, actionable insights. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, and after 30 years of running studios, coaching owners, and scaling businesses, I know one thing's for sure. There's no one size fits all in this industry. You've got the passion and I've got the tools to help you take it to the next level. So hit that subscribe button, grab a coffee, and let's scale your studio together. Hello, Dance Fam, and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. Now, before we get into this app, I just want to share something that I did earlier this week. I was actually invited to one of my mastermind members' staff retreat, and it was just such a great experience. It was just really what I found exciting was to put faces to names. Now, this particular studio owner, I've been working with her for nearly 18 months. And during that time, I've witnessed the incredible growth and expansion, and particularly the positive shifts that have occurred within herself and within her studio. But what really struck me by being there with her team was how much I actually felt like I was part of it. You know, each of the team members, I feel like I know them, and I said this to them, like I feel I know each and every one of you, and I know what your dreams and your goals are because I've worked so closely with the studio owner. So I really got a kick out of just being able to be there. And honestly, that's how invested I get with all the studios that I work with. It's not just about the strategies and business plans. It's about becoming a partner and support throughout this part of their journey. And I mean, her team, they were so welcoming and so accommodating. And they just used this time to focus in on team culture. And it was a testament to what happens when a studio owner truly steps into her leadership. And when you embrace your role as a leader, you elevate everything. You know, it's your team is elevated, your studio, and then even yourself. And I've seen it firsthand with her, but the impact of her leadership has been evident in the studio's success. It's also been a transformation of herself and her own confidence and clarity as a business owner. And that's a really good reminder for all of us. You know, ask yourself the question, what does leadership mean to you? And how are you implementing it in your studio? Now, I actually did a leadership episode last week. If you haven't listened to it, do go back and have a listen, because it's a powerful question to reflect on, because leadership doesn't just happen. It really is something that you cultivate intentionally. And I also do want to take this moment to acknowledge her. This is, you know, she's one of quite a few in our membership, but she, you know, it's the consistent trust, the hard work, and the energy that goes into this process. And I get to see it all. It's such a privilege to support this part of her journey. And watching someone invest so deeply in their studio and their team is really inspiring. All right, so moving on from that, I just hope that gives you a little bit of encouragement or a little bit of an idea of something that you might want to spend some time focusing on. And that sort of relates to this episode that I'm going into today. All right, let's get into the regular programming. Now, this episode is all about starting the new year with a fresh perspective for your studio and how embracing change can breathe new life into your business. And if you've been a long time listener, you might have noticed something a little bit different. And that is we have a new name. Now, the reason is I just wanted to align the podcast where my heart truly lies, and that is in helping you scale your studio in a way that feels simplified, streamlined, and sustainable. Scaling isn't just about growing bigger. It's about creating a business that works for you. It's a studio that thrives without running you into the ground, essentially. So, welcome to this new chapter, and I'm really happy to have you here today. All right, so as I mentioned, this really does tie beautifully into today's episode, which is 5 ways to refresh and reimagine your studio for 2025. Now, a vision for where you want your studio to go is key, and sometimes that means looking at things with fresh eyes, being honest about what's working, and then also being brave enough to make those changes. So, whether it's rethinking your systems, whether it's refreshing the classroom experience, or even embracing, something like the initiative of AI, it's all about creating a studio that feels alive and inspired. So, today I'm going to be talking about some ways that you can refresh your studio for the year ahead. Now, as usual, I'll be sharing some actionable tips and I'll tell you why they matter and the benefits that they can bring, not just to your business, but to you personally, because that is just as important. All right, let's dive in. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, starting the new dance year always felt really nerve wracking. And I mean, I did this like 30 times over 30 years, so you would think that it would be a walk in the park, but truly it never was. I would always feel those butterflies, have the sleepless nights leading up to open day, knowing that start of the new year was coming. And, I would question why. But when I stop and think about it, I think it's just because I really cared. Like I cared a lot. I poured my heart, my soul, and that endless energy into giving my students, giving my families, and my team the best experience possible. And I know that so many of you who are listening feel the same way. That's part of the reason you're probably here. The truth is, when you stop caring, you stop growing. This podcast season is about giving you, your students, your community, and most importantly, what I can do for you so that I can help you fill your cup, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So let's make sure that yours is filled to the brim, and hopefully I can help you with that each week. All right, so today, diving into how to refresh your studio for the year ahead, it's all about looking at your business with fresh eyes, embracing that innovation, and staying ahead. And yes, I will be sharing how incorporating AI might be the smartest move that you do make this year if you aren't already on board. Why does it matter? As studio owners, we wear so many hats. You are a teacher, you are a marketer, you're a manager, you're a mentor. It's easy to get stuck in that routine of just changing your hats to keep afloat. But when we don't take the time to reflect and refresh, that's when our studio can start to feel stagnant. This isn't just about appearances, it's about creating an environment where your students can thrive, where your teachers continually feel inspired, and the families feel connected. So, when you step back to reimagine your studio, you're actively then making space for growth and innovation. And this process helps you identify what's working, what isn't, and where there's room for improvement. Plus, when your studio feels vibrant and exciting, that energy is contagious and it spreads to your team, to your students, and to the community. All right, so let's get into the practical ways that you might be able to breathe new life into your studio. So I'm going to give you 5 examples. There are more. These are just the ones that jumped out at me to talk about. I will go into a little bit of detail with each. If you have more questions about each of them, please do reach out. You can send me a DM on Instagram, and happy to flesh out more for each of these points. But let's go through the first ones. So the first one is having a look over your classroom experience. Okay, the classroom is the heart of the studio, so keeping it fresh ensures that students stay engaged and excited about learning. Now, you might be a super marketer and you are getting new people through the door all the time, you're locking them in for trials, but without a good classroom experience, you'll struggle to keep them. Now, complacency is a big thing as well. So I also encourage you to have a look at your teachers and how they're delivering the classroom experience. things that may be brought to your attention that need to be addressed at training. Just have a look across the experience as a whole, assess where you think there could be changes or tweaks to make it better, and then make sure that you communicate that to your teachers as well, because that vibrant classroom experience improves retention, which is a big thing that we want to focus on this year, building confidence, and it just strengthens your studio's reputation as a place where students can come, kids can come to feel empowered and to grow. And on a little bit of a side note, I think we're cycling back again with the marketing, back into a lot of word of mouth. And so word of mouth referrals. So, if someone's in your studio, you want them to have the most incredible experience that they're going to talk about it. So it is absolutely worth having a look over and refreshing that. Okay, the next thing is engaging your team. Now, collaboration just allows different perspectives at the table. And your staff often have really unique insights into what's working in the classroom and where students might need more support. So it's absolutely worth taking the time to have conversations with your teachers, with your staff. Let them share their thoughts, any ideas they might be having. Make sure you're listening to conversations that are being had. And then you want to foster that team feeling, because when the team feels like they are part of the decision making, it gives them a sense of ownership and builds the morale, which essentially is what then builds a fantastic culture in your studio. When they feel part of the studio's growth, they're then more invested in its success. So it's a win-win for everyone. All right, so that's number 2, is just engaging your team a little bit more. Okay, number 3 is to plan out your 12 months in advance. So whether you do this physically, whether you do this online, whether you have a big wall calendar like I do to fill it in, having a clear calendar just allows you to stay ahead of your deadlines, which then in turn allows you to manage your workload and avoid that last minute stress. So, that feeling when you're continually catching your breath because it's like, oh no, I've got to do that next thing. Oh, I've got to do that next thing. Having that 12-month calendar plan will just allow you to keep in front of it. It also makes it easier to communicate key dates to families, which they're going to appreciate, and hopefully give you priority if something else comes up on the same day. Can't be sure, but possibly, they're going to say, okay, the concert date's booked in for this weekend. We won't book our family holiday. We'll make that the weekend after. So little things like that. I know for myself, before I got quite good at doing a 12-month calendar plan, things like Valentine's Day would come around and Mother's Day. So as a studio, we would do, give little gifts to the kids to give to their parents, whether it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, or Valentine's Day. But I remember Mother's Day just crept up on me so fast. And I literally, before I had the 12-month calendar plan, I'd be freaking out like, oh my gosh, it's Mother's Day in a week and I haven't got the gifts and we haven't printed the poems or whatever gifts we were giving that year. And so at the point where I had the 12-month plan, I was able to see it in advance. So I knew that, okay, several weeks out, I could organize that, buy whatever I needed and have it sorted. Or at the point then when I had team members taking over, they were then in charge of that and could see it. So when you can put in every event possible, every thing coming up in the studio, whether it's in class, whether it's exam work, whether it's comps, whether it's holidays, just have everything out in front of you. It's going to give you space in your brain. And we need space. We need space so that we can keep innovating. We need space so we can keep refreshing and being better than we were before. So that's the idea behind the 12-month calendar. Okay, the next thing is setting mini goals. Now, I love the idea of having a look over your business, working out some of the big things. So once the smaller things are sorted out, you then have a look as a whole. Okay, where are the big projects that I want to work on? And then once you've identified those big those big projects. So for example, maybe like reprogram, you might want to reprogram your classes, or the syllabus. Maybe you write your own syllabus and you want to just update that. Maybe it's just the preschool curriculum you want to update if you're doing your own. Breaking those large projects into smaller, manageable tasks will reduce the overwhelm, because it helps you see the progress faster. So, for example, instead of saying I need to completely reprogram my classes, start with, okay, I'm going to focus on updating the jazz curriculum first. And then I'm going to give myself 4 weeks to do that. Once that's done, I'll move on to the tap curriculum. So it's just taking those big goals and making them smaller so that you can make sure that they get done. Because the other thing that happens is sometimes when it's so big, it's too hard to actually get started because you're not quite sure where to start and the overwhelm sets in. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I have found I've been working this way for quite a while now with these mini goal ideas, and it really just does it boosts your confidence and it keeps you motivated. It's also easier to involve your team and delegate when you're at a point when you can, and they then have a clear, achievable steps that they can follow to contribute and help you to get these goals done. So that is my next thought for you. And then finally, finishing with that reimagine piece. So we've gone through the refresh. Now the reimagine, I can't finish this episode without touching on AI because it really is a game changer. And most people I speak to absolutely love it. They're eager to learn as much as they can. It's exciting to see so many studio owners exploring how AI can make their lives easier and their businesses run more efficiently. That being said, I did recently come across a post where maybe you saw it because it was in one of our industry Facebook pages. Someone was very passionately against accepting AI. I think there was like a comment like it's going to take over the world, which it probably will. However, interesting opinion, and I think it really does deserve its own episode to unpack, and I will do that in the coming episodes. But here's the thing. AI isn't here to take over, it really is here to assist us at the moment. And maybe this idea about being the perceived idea about taking over is more of a fear response for those who just refuse to learn anything about it or refuse to understand it. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know everything about it because I absolutely don't. I think the fact that it grows so exponentially fast, I think it takes very special people to stay across it. And I would hazard a guess to say that there are not that many people that are staying on top of it every single day, all the time. However, we can do our best to just keep ourselves educated. And when used thoroughly and thoughtfully, AI is actually a powerful tool that can help free up our time. And then it will allow us to focus on what you love about running your studio. It's not there to replace you. We can't, like with our businesses, with our business models, AI can't step in. Although in saying that, maybe you'll come back to me in 20 years and say, robots are teaching my classes. Maybe. At the moment, it's just really amplifying your ability to lead and grow. And honestly, it just gives you more time to do the connection pieces and the communication and like building that feeling and that environment, and all the other stuff that takes your time and takes your energy is being done by AI. Like, it's so cool. I think it's really changed the game for me. And it's revolutionizing how businesses operate, and dance studios are no exception. It's not about that replacing the human touch, because each of us have things that make our studios unique. It's just about freeing up the time so you can focus on what matters. Okay, so just in a short little nutshell, how it can help. It can help with just repetitive tasks. It can help with content creation. It can help with time management. And this for me is still the biggest thing. Like, it saves time. I've added it up. It saves me about 5 to 10 hours a week, with when I'm utilizing AI across different apps that I have. It really does save me so much time. It also saves me money. So there are tasks that I do that take time that I could and used to delegate to staff, my admin team, or to a virtual assistant, or now my OBM. But there are things that I can get AI apps to do and tools to do where I don't have to be paying a person to physically get this stuff done for me. So it's saving me thousands of dollars a year by utilizing it. And it also is a great way to enhance your strategy. So, we can get really specific about what it is we want, who we're targeting, ideas that are different from everybody else, the innovation side of it. And then you focus on growth and the creativity and the connection. So I just really do encourage you to stay open-minded about it. Think of AI as an extra set of hands that we all wish we had. It really is here to support us and not take over. At this time, as I said, there may be time where robots start, teaching our classes. Who knows? We'll all be out of a job at that point, so we can regroup then. All right, wrapping up. So refreshing your studio isn't just about changing what's on the surface. It is about creating the environment where everyone can thrive. So you can thrive, your students can thrive, your team can thrive. And whether that is setting the mini goals, whether it is collaborating with your team, whether it's using AI, I want you to look at the things that can have the biggest impact for you as you move forward into this year. Now, before we finish, I would love to just set a challenge for the week. I've given you an example of 5 different areas to have a look at, but I would love and encourage you just to pick one to focus on for this week. What is it? Maybe it's the classroom experience. Maybe it's the refining your 12-month calendar. Just start with that one thing so that it gets momentum started. And I would really love to hear from you. So what is the one step that you're taking to refresh your studio right now? Share it with me. Send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to just share and celebrate with you as you are moving through that process. Now, actually, in saying that, this coming Monday, the 20th, I'm actually running a 2-hour workshop. It is online. It's called Simplify and Streamline. It's a Q1 business planning workshop. And in that 2 hours, we essentially set the tone for 2025. We'll go through all the different steps that you can be focusing in and refreshing and realigning for the new year ahead. Or we will go into your goals and the steps how to achieve it, but also simplify your focus. So you just can have more students turning up, your team functioning beautifully, and even just the way, I want you to manage your time better as you step into your leadership role. Now, if you would like to be part of that, it is online. If you can't be there live, there will be a recording. But if you would like the link to register, please just send me a DM on Instagram, which is _JenDalton_, and I will send you the link to register. It's that simple. There's going to be quite a few on the call. I'm super excited to get into this. This is a process that I've been doing now for quite a few years, and it has literally changed the game. So all I want to do is share that with you. I'd love you to be part of it. Okay, thank you so much for tuning into our very first episode of the Dance Studio Scaled podcast. Now, if this episode did resonate with you, I would really appreciate if you would share it with other studio owners and subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other studio owners who would love it too. And let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at JenDalton for more tips, insights, and behind-the-scenes moments to help you simplify and scale your studio. Until next time, keep dreaming big and taking action. I'll see you back here soon.